From June 29th to the evening of July 31st, 2025, my husband Wang Xiangqiao was taken away and interrogated by the Public Security Bureau of Kangping County, Shenyang City. He was later detained at the Kangping County Detention Center under the charge of using a cult organization to undermine the implementation of the law. From the moment I was informed of my husband's detention, I haven't had a single peaceful night of sleep. Deep in my heart, I know his faith and his character. This charge is a wrongful accusation. Every day, my mind was consumed with thoughts of what I could do to bring him home sooner. I kept picturing the moment I would finally welcome him back and ask about everything he had endured, even though I knew doing so would reopen his wounds. On July 31st, after tireless efforts from both the lawyer and our family, that long-awaited moment finally arrived. That evening, I waited for a long time in the hallway of the detention center. At last, they brought him out to complete the release procedures. We saw each other through the glass and both of us choked up with emotion. His hands trembled so much that he couldn't even sign his name properly. The officers had to fill out the rest of the paperwork for him. On the night of June 29th, the day he was taken, he was held at the Shengli police station in Kangping County with only one auxiliary officer on duty. He was given nothing to eat and wasn't even allowed to use the restroom. When he asked, the officer simply ignored him and kept playing on his phone. The next morning, 4 or 5 officers arrived and began coercing my husband to confess, forcing him to admit he was part of a so-called cult and to falsely implicate others as members or as having anti-government behavior. When he didn't comply, they insulted, belittled, manipulated, and threatened him, even saying that I would be arrested too if he didn't say what they wanted. That day, they never presented any legal documentation. My husband was illegally detained for over 24 hours without food. He suffered both physically and mentally. Around 1 a.m. on July 1st, they transferred him to the Kangping Detention Center, where he spent the next 30 days. Every time he was called in for interrogation, it was like reliving a nightmare. If his statements didn't match the narrative they had prepared, he was verbally abused, threatened, and mentally broken down, until he was finally forced to write a letter of repentance. I had hoped that bringing my husband home would bring him peace, in body, mind, and spirit. But the reality was far from that. His 30-day ordeal left him deeply traumatized. Every time the subject is mentioned, he becomes visibly distressed. Even small things like the sound of a particular keychain or being near the place where he was taken can trigger intense fear. He's still far from regaining the confidence and calm he once had. I am a Christian, and I believe we are called to overcome evil with good. But in our current situation, it feels like kindness alone cannot defeat injustice, when instead it enables it. If this kind of darkness is not confronted, it will continue to consume more churches and more lives. That is why I must speak out. I must stand for justice. I want the world to know what happened to my family. We deserve a fair and righteous judgment,